Hey everyone, welcome to a new episode of the Iceberg Lounge. I'm your host, Thomas Single, and with me in seat number 2 is Randy Dobbins.
Hello.
And in today's episode, we're going to be dissecting what happened in the first issue of Batman and Fortnite's comic, 0 Point. And so before we get into that, like always, we're going to have us a commercial break. And when we come back, we're going to dive into the first issue. Hey, this is Thomas Single from the Iceberg Lounge, and I'm here to talk to you today about Anchor, the easiest way to make a podcast. Anchor gives you everything you need in one place, and guess what? It's absolutely free, which you can use right from your cell phone or computer just like I do. They even have creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast so it sounds amazing. They'll even distribute your podcast for you. You don't even have to do it yourself. So it can be heard everywhere, from Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and many more. You can even make money from your podcast with minimum listenership. So why don't you download the Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started. And welcome back. So, this is like, to me, one of the most anticipated comic books to come out so far this year. When they announced it for this season, where it was going to be 6 issues, me and you were pumped about it because we're all about the lore of Fortnite.
Oh yeah.
Because we'll be playing like competitive or in exhibition, and we'll just be sitting there thinking about theories that could happen.
Yeah, we'll be sitting talking about, did you see what this NPC said, or this NPC said, or this could fit into the lore, or this could be this, or whatever.
Yeah, even with map changes, we'll automatically go into
I wonder how this fits into how that'll fit into the storyline.
Exactly. So let's hop in. Automatically you get information in page 1 of the comic. It seems to, when page 1 is happening, it seems to be when the 0 Point was going crazy during the beginning of season 6, I feel.
I feel like it's, to me, what I instantly thought of was chapter 1, season 5.
Okay.
Because of the big rift in the sky.
Yeah, because when the rift was there, to me, I just felt like, okay, is this happening during the season 6, chapter 2 beginning event when it was ripping more? Because when we were trying to close up these rifts, they were different places. So to me, it felt like one of them had to be Gotham.
Yeah, which, where I think it fits is chapter 2, season 6, based on some things we'll talk about later. But
yeah, so in page 2 and 3, we see Batman trying to stop Harley Quinn from going into the 0 Point, and Harley Quinn said something about they went in before she could get ready to.
yeah, they had already went in.
And I feel like, because before that, she was talking about her hyenas.
Yeah.
So I feel like when she said they, it might have been her hyenas, which could possibly mean the next animal we could get would be hyenas in the game.
Yeah.
I don't know if that would be possible, but I didn't see anyone else being with her.
Yeah, Because my thing is, she stops for two. You stop for 2 minutes to clean up hyena poop, and everybody starts without you.
Yeah, so
So to
possibly
me, it wasn't her hyenas that went in first. It was actual people,
exactly, which would mean who else was with her?
which I think it could have been cat. One of them could have been Catwoman.
Yeah, and maybe the other one is Deathstroke. I really want a Deathstroke skin.
Yeah, because we were talking about this the other night while I was streaming, I believe. Um, I've heard two different sides that either we're getting Deathstroke as a skin that we'll get through these comics, or we're gonna get him through the item shop.
Yeah, which either way, I'll be fine with it. Um,
And the reason for people that we how we know he's coming is because there's already a Deathstroke glider that you'll get as a reward for these comics.
yeah, which I'm pumped about. I'm very pumped about it. Um, which speaking of the comics, because of the comics, I finally got my account two-factor authenticated, which
Yeah.
means I can now finally enter tournaments.
Oh yeah.
Um, after like a year of trying to do it.
Oh yeah.
Um, but so we move on to page 4. And here's something you might disagree with me on, Randy.
Yeah.
In page 4, what I got out of it is this seems to be a different Batman. That this is not the same Batman from season X.
I don't think so.
Um,
I really don't, because then he would remember being in the game, and that would be like, how do you get out,
yeah, the only explanation of anything would be, remember there was the dome over each of the new things to where you would enter and enter out,
Yeah.
would be if he was trapped in there and only like Fortnite characters could walk in and out, but that wouldn't make sense.
Yeah.
So I feel like this Batman is a totally different Batman from chapter uh chapter 1 season X.
Yeah.
um
The real question is, though, about this page is who kicked him?
I
Because if you look at the first little frame, they're sewing on the wall. Then in the third frame, you see them swinging down. And then in the last frame of the page, you see them kicking Batman, which into the rift.
into the rift. Who do you, can you tell by the silhouette?
No, not really.
Okay. So, yeah, that was my big thing is because of the way he was acting, I I really feel this is a totally different Batman.
Oh yeah,
Um and as we see in page 5, Batman literally the 0 points pressure
it's gonna.
makes Batman black out.
Yeah, and also his tech is going crazy.
Yeah, he isn't able to use his tech. His grappler is too weak for the
Yeah.
pull of the 0 point.
And if you notice in that second frame, that person is standing over him.
Yeah, almost like they were making him go into the 0 point, trying to get rid of him.
Yeah. But the thing is, I don't think it's Joker.
No, I don't think it's Joker.
Because
Yeah,
Joker would already be in the game.
exactly, with Poison Ivy. Unless this also could be a hint at Deathstroke, because Deathstroke and Batman do have a big rivalry.
Yeah.
Because Deathstroke is known as, I think, the top assassin, at least on Earth, in the DC comics.
Yeah.
And Batman's the world's greatest detective, so they always have this feud.
Oh
So
yeah.
it could be Deathstroke again if he didn't jump in before Harley could. So on page 6, Batman throws out a thought that says he sees the storm and notices that it could possibly be externally controlled. That possibly this isn't a natural storm, that this storm is created and controlled by someone or something.
Yeah.
And
But
I feel like that was a big hint to this storm is not what it looks like.
yeah. And my thing is, I feel like that could be a callback to the season 2 event of this chapter.
Exactly. When Midas was trying to break out.
And then, because if you remember, for a couple days there, it wasn't like it usually is. It was water.
Yeah, it was water. Yeah, the storm wasn't inside. It was this wall of water.
So that proves that what Batman is saying is true. That it's somehow, by who I don't know, but it is externally controlled.
And I believe reading about the comics coming up, these comics will tell us who's behind everything. I don't know which issue it's gonna be, but eventually whoever's behind all of this will be seen and will be exposed. Which is gonna be big for the whole lore of it.
Oh yeah.
So in pages 7 and 8, we see that Batman immediately, the moment he hits the island, loses his memory and speech, which in season 4, we
That
got
kind of
told that as well.
yeah.
Because we had to do one, the awakening events, and two, we saw where Thor couldn't talk to no one.
And he also gets ambushed by Ruckus.
Yeah, exactly. Out of nowhere. And that's when he was like, why are these people fighting me? Maybe they are confused as well.
Yeah.
Um,
And he also says that something about him maybe I can communicate through sign language, and then he goes, I am I don't know who I am.
yeah, which isn't really a big surprise because this was revealed in season 4.
Yeah.
Where we found out that speech is lost and memory is lost, which brings up a good point that I found on Twitter. Does this mean whenever we talk to the NPCs, we're doing it through telepath?
Maybe.
Because that would be the only way we would be able to communicate is mind to mind.
Yeah.
And I thought that was a real good point someone brought up on Twitter is, are we communicating mind to mind now here? And is that more of a developed thing over time rather than you automatically being able to do it?
Yeah.
Um, in pages 9 and 10, we see that even though his memory is gone and his speech is gone, he still has muscle memory and gadget memory. And so he still knows how to fight and he still knows how to use his gadgets he has.
Oh yeah. And
And go ahead.
I was about to say he somehow gets that batarang to stick to what who seen I can't tell what skin that is, but someone's boat.
And so at least that's good to know is there's your body is remembering stuff, but you physically like what's the word?
You mentally.
Yeah, like it goes back to instincts. Like you still have your instincts,
Yeah.
but you just don't know how to speak or who you are at that point. So in page 11, he says something else that's interesting. He says he is being, it seems like he's being manipulated. Like almost like he's being controlled.
Yeah.
And I don't know if he means like because the storm is moving everyone to a singular place, or if he feels like he's physically like almost a puppet and someone is using him, which would make sense because us players are the ones controlling him.
Yeah.
So that brings us into it to be like, wait, are we manipulating them, or is he talking about the person behind it all doing it?
Yeah. I believe it's the person behind everything.
Yeah, I just thought that was interesting as too because he doesn't like to be manipulated.
Yeah. And then he gets sniped.
Exactly. Which I don't. These comics are supposed to be going the story. So how did someone get a sniper on the island?
Yeah, exactly.
Because there's no snipers on the island.
Yeah, like I don't know. That's the only thing I thought was weird.
Yeah, and page 12, I got a laugh out of page 12 because basically Batman was saying it is so crazy on this island. It's making him think that he's really in Arkham.
Yeah.
Because he feels like he's insane right now.
Yeah, and if you noticed, I don't know if you noticed, but Marigold is on this page.
Exactly, which later on we will see who I think is possibly her husband, Midas, later on.
Yeah. And then also the daughter of the Ice King and Queen.
Yeah, which is another family that seems to be stuck in this loop.
Yeah.
And in page 13, he goes on even more about Arkham.
But
Oh, that's my bad. But in page 13, he talks more about Arkham, saying that this couldn't be Arkham because
it's
this is
too
more
disorganized.
disorganized than Arkham.
Yeah.
And
He
you
said
know
that's
how
defined.
disorganized you have to be more disorganized than Arkham?
Yeah.
I was like, this is insane.
Yeah.
And then
He starts
another
to question. He starts to question whether he's on a alien world or another dimension.
exactly, which that's what I was literally about to bring up is like it is so crazy. He thinks exactly he's on either another world or he's in another dimension, which if we look at the lore,
It
this
is.
would yeah, this would be in a different universe. So technically he is in a different world. I don't know about dimension, but he's at least in a different world.
Yeah.
Um pages 14 and 15, I put right here Catwoman enters the chat. um he suddenly sees Catwoman and he sits there and he's like, I feel like I know her and I see her and she looks like she knows me.
Yeah. And I don't know if this is what I'm thinking, Thomas, but do you see the skin that's on the right side behind Catwoman in that frame, in that first frame?
Go ahead.
It looks like he's holding Mjolnir.
Hmm.
It's the one that the cowboy skin is going after.
Oh, that's interesting.
Because look, I don't know if you're looking at the comment,
I'm not currently. I'm just looking at my notes.
but it looks like Mjolnir.
And that's interesting. is.
Hold on. Let me do something real quick. I'm sending you a Snapchat. All right. I want you to look at it. That way we can kind of see what you can kind of see what I'm talking about.
Oh, dude, that does look like Mjolnir.
That's what that's what I'm saying.
So if that person is holding Mjolnir, the person has to be worthy enough.
Yeah.
But whose skin is that?
That's the thing. I can't make it out. That's not one I recognize.
Because the people that were left on the island was Ant-Man and Captain America.
Yeah.
And the rest of them went back.
Exactly.
Huh. Maybe we can look more deep into that for the next installment, because we're going to be bringing you reviews and information coming out of all 6 of these stories when they come out, either a day or 2 after they come out, once we get our thoughts together about it. Yeah. So be on the lookout for those, because this is literally just part 1 of 6 of this massive arc in Fortnite. So then they start fighting together. Batman and Catwoman, because they have this connection that they don't know why. And what's funny is I saw someone else on social media make a joke, and they were like, Batman and Catwoman working together, automatically report for teaming. And I thought, yes, they are teaming. That breaks the rules. Report them.
He also takes out Tomato Head.
Yeah, we see Tomato Head.
And this isn't Colt Tomato Head either. This is regular Pizza Pit Tomato Head.
Exactly. And so we see that Batman figures out, is like, are we partners? Are we lovers? Which in DC universe right now, married. And so, I mean, it's hard to figure out what Batman this is, unless it's just like a whole different universe Batman. Yeah. But with the last thing saying lovers, it almost wants me to point to that Batman, saying, okay, that's the Batman, that's the universe that Batman came from, is the one where he is married or has been married to Catwoman. Because, I mean, they were lovers before they got married, obviously. But I just found that interesting. And then on pages 16 and 17, that's when we see Midas is alive and kicking. And not the evil Midas, not Oros. It is Shadow Midas. So, go ahead.
And it shows that he still has his powers, too.
Exactly, because he has golden dual pistols. Which now begs the question and brings up the fact of when he got ate by the shark in season 3, there's no way he could have died.
Yeah.
Because, and I'll bring this up later, it's a loop. Which means after the 22 minutes was over, he would be alive again.
Exactly. And I can't remember the skin's name, but it would, if you look right next to Batman in that frame, it's a season 9 tier 100 skin. I just can't think of his name.
Season 9 tier 100. Isn't that Vendetta?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
you also got Drift there too, and that's base Drift.
And see, because earlier within the seasons, we thought Midas was dead, and they brought him back for the Fortnitemares event.
Yeah,
as a Shadow Midas.
Yeah,
not a Shadow, but it's almost a Kevin Midas.
Yeah, And then they also brought him back for this last bundle.
which now
To
points
me,
out that there's no way anyone on this island can truly die.
yeah, to me, how that Midas, from the last bundle with Joker and Poison Ivy,
Yeah.
how it works in is that's the Midas that got ate by the shark, and they put him in a robotic suit.
Yeah, and that's how he's staying alive, which then,
Something like Cyborg.
yeah. And honestly, I feel like that Midas is like, yeah, it's keeping him alive, but his body is decaying what's left of it, which would then produce the skin of Oros.
Yeah,
Which
because
that I want them to flush out that story more. Because I find that extremely interesting.
me too.
Um,
But if
and
you
so,
know, go ahead.
no, go ahead, man.
I was about to say on the next page, if you notice, he knocks Midas out while chokeholding uh Drift.
Yeah, Drift. And see, if I could compare Midas to any character in the DC comics, it would have to be Black Mask because they kind of are both like mobster looking characters. Um, so that's just a side thought. But if we look in the last page of the comics, knocked out everyone. Notice they haven't killed anyone. They've just knocked out people. They're both like holding each other's hands, looking at each other, basically in the storm, basically prepared to die together. And that's how the comic ends, is basically them dying in the storm because they're technically not the last people standing.
Yeah.
And that's the one thing that's gonna be hard for Batman to do, because Batman does not kill. So he will either have to be killed or he's gonna die in the storm every single time.
Yeah. See, what I think he's gonna do is try to kind of camp and see what's going on.
Obviously, we know they're not just gonna kill off Batman in the first comic, and we know that since it is a loop, that last page was the end of the 22-minute loop, and they're literally about to probably wake up on the island again to restart the cycle and the loop again.
Yeah.
But
And the whole thing is, I've heard that we're getting a armored Batman skin for the last uh comic.
yeah, you actually get a preview of it in the trailer.
Yeah. Which how did he get the armored Batman suit? Did he make it on the island? Like, how did he do it?
I think he did over the loops,
Yeah.
because if we can see the loops, like I believe your memory grows on the island. Like you remember each battle while you're on the island. It's just before the island you don't remember anything.
Yeah, because if you look on his both of his like wrists in the trailer, it says something like you must remember.
Yeah, like it seems like he's having to write stuff down before the loop ends that will remind him once the loop restarts again.
Yeah, because I feel over these 6 issues, it'll show that he will his memory will start to grow.
Exactly. And I also believe over the comics, as the story progresses both in game and in comic, that we will get a makeshift bat cave on the island somewhere. It's not going to be, I call it a bat cave, but it could literally just be a house.
Yeah.
Um cuz as of right now, we know that Raven got sucked in by the 0 point.
Harley Quinn.
Harley Quinn, and Catwoman. That's
Yeah.
just from this season. And you can also probably count Joker and Poison Ivy if you want to. Don't know if Aquaman's still on the island, if he's gonna have any input in the story.
See, what would be interesting is if they show Aquaman helping Bruce out.
Exactly, because there is no information that says that he is off this island.
Because think about it, Aquaman, and I can't remember what's his villain's name. Manta.
Yeah, Manta. Black Manta.
Black Manta. Yeah. So there's nothing saying that Black Manta or Aquaman aren't still on the island.
Exactly. So that brings up that point. There might be an Aquaman type of appearance, which I think there should be, because there's no sense of him being off the island.
Yeah, and if you really want to, you know what would be funny if they? I think they should do this, but I don't know if Marvel and DC would work together on it.
What?
Dead. There's nothing saying that Deadpool's not on the island.
Yeah, there is.
So it'd be interesting to have.
Yeah, Deadpool still could be on the island as well with Ant-Man and Captain America.
I want to see a interaction between Deadpool and Deathstroke.
Oh, if they do that and they're able to get permission for that, oh, that is gonna be so funny.
That's what I want to happen, but that's why I'm saying I don't know if they would be able to work together.
Like, that interaction alone would be worth the money of the comic.
Exactly.
But we're gonna end it here. Thank y'all for listening to this episode of the Iceberg Lounge. Remember to go to linktr.ee /trji to look at all of the links to the different ways you can get the podcast, for the YouTube channel, for the Real Music Radio playlist. Has over 50 plus hours of music on it. I think it's the best playlist on Spotify. Also, it's where the link is to the Twitch channel where I live stream. And don't forget to go look up Itsktowngaming on YouTube. Go look up Randy Ranks on your podcasting platforms. And also go look up Itsktowngaming on Twitch for Randy's live stream on Twitch as well. Don't forget to support the Iceberg Lounge by going to patreon.com/trji. Become a member for only $1 a month. You get all of my content first before anybody else. Become a VIP, because we love our VIPs over on Patreon. And remember to like, comment, share this podcast. Don't forget to go and review this podcast on your podcasting platforms. 5 stars would be amazing and will help us get the podcast out there even more. Always know that God loves you and we love you. And always remember, all to God, we will see you in the next episode.